It's Sunday, it's time for story time, and I have a special treat for you today. I have an axolotl. If you play Minecraft, these guys have been pretty popular, and if you're into reptiles and amphibians, you've probably known about them for a long time. So, axolotls are technically a salamander that come from Mexico, but they've been extinct in the wild for basically decades. We don't find them in the wild anymore. That's due to climate change. That's also due to urban runoff, or also pollution, and then also degradation of their wild habitat, and then invasive species. These guys start out really small, just like if you've ever seen a tadpole out in the pond or lake around your house. Tadpoles are really tiny, and same with axolotl ones. They can get eaten by just about everything. Now, most salamanders are going to come up out of the water at some point and look like an adult, not have gills and like a big paddle-like tail like these guys do. But axolotls have this thing called neoteny. That means they retain juvenile characteristics, so the gills and the big fin, but are technically adults. They're the only amphibian to really do this. Most animals are going to end up looking completely different by the time they become an adult, especially in the amphibian world, because frogs and toads no longer have tails when they go up on land. Newts will go back and forth between land and water and look a little bit different, but salamanders are a little bit different. Now, they also have this awesome thing called autotomy, which means they can lose a limb and they can grow it back. Because of their neotenic traits, meaning that they're always a juvenile, they have special cells in their body that rebuild things. So if they were to get their gills bit off by another axolotl or a fish, or get pecked at something, they can actually just grow it back. And a lot of times what they'll do is they'll go to cool water and not focus on digesting food or diverting energy anywhere else except to regrowing that limb. Now, that brings up another special thing. Axolotls like cool water. We typically keep them in the high 50s to low 60s. So most of the reptiles and amphibians we have, we keep in the 70s, some of them even 80s, or like my Savannah monitor likes it like 100 degrees. But axolotls, they like it really, really cold. Now, they can be really, really cool animals to have, and they're very, very easy to take care of if you set them up correctly. Again, you have to have cold water for them, and a guy like this is going to be living in like a 40 to 50 gallon tank. So this little enclosure I have them in right now is just temporary. Axolotls aren't really something we hold. We don't really hold amphibians at all. I will take him out in order to show you, but like with most amphibians, you have to have your hands wet. They can suck up anything up out of your hands. So if they're not wet, you got dry hands, they could suck up chemicals or soaps or anything that are on your hands. I'm only going to take him out briefly and then put him back, because since he's fully aquatic, he doesn't want to be out of the water. So here we go, just as a quick look. But again, this isn't something I recommend when you have a home, but I want you to see what he looks like out of the water. This one is an albino one, so he's got red eyes and you can kind of see through his skin. So we're going to put him back in. Like I said, we make that very, very quick. We don't keep axolotls out of the water, and we don't really handle them. But that gives you a better look than looking through here. Now, he's not stressed out. I know the signs of stress. I've been working with him for a while. He's only going to be in this for a short time while we do story time, and then he can go right back to his enclosure. So with that in mind, because he's an animal that we don't find in the wild anymore, he's technically extinct in the wild, but he's functional in captivity, we're going to read a book called Don't Let Them Disappear by Chelsea Clinton and illustrated by Gianna Marino. So this is about 12 different endangered species across the globe. So, long before the sun is up, giraffes wake early to get a head start on the day's work of walking, eating, and staying away from predators. Towers of giraffes will walk 9 miles or more every day to find all the food they need to eat. Even though they are the tallest animals on Earth with the longest necks, they use their nearly 2-foot-long tongues to reach even higher for the leaves that make up most of their diet. Every giraffe has a unique pattern of spots that help hide from predators, but giraffes don't rely solely on their spots for protection. A single giraffe can kick like a lion. Don't let them disappear. And we can also see it gives facts about where they're from as well as the fact that they're a vulnerable species. And they're vulnerable because of habitat destruction, poaching, war, and climate change, but they're only found in Central, Eastern, and Southern Africa. Waking up with the sun, gorillas leave their nest to find food before they'll need to rest again as the day heats up. While gorillas mainly eat plants, they sometimes snack on small insects too. It's hard work gathering the dozens of pounds of food that adult gorillas need to consume each day. Gorilla moms carry their babies on their chest or backs, and a troop of gorillas communicates by using sounds and facial expressions similar to the way we do. In captivity, some gorillas have even been taught to use sign language. Language is not the only thing humans and gorillas share. Gorillas can also catch human diseases, even a cold, which can be deadly. Don't let them disappear. They're found in Central and Sub-Saharan Africa. They're critically endangered due to habitat destruction, poaching, and war. Blue whales are the largest animals the world has ever seen. Whales are mammals like us, but unlike us, never be fully asleep. They take in oxygen from water and air, and when they breathe out, the vapor can soar up to 30 feet high, making them visible, including to the whalers who almost hunted them to extinction 50 years ago. They tend not to travel in big pods, preferring to swim alone or in pairs. That doesn't mean they're not in touch though. Blue whales communicate with one another up to 1,000 miles away at a frequency too low for humans to hear, and in a language scientists are still working to understand. The scientists can sense their heartbeats from up to 20 miles away. Don't let them disappear. Their range is every ocean except the Arctic, and they're endangered because of historically hunting, and now with the hunting outlawed, blue whale numbers are finally growing. But we also have to worry about climate change and the oceans warming up, and that can actually harm them too. By the time the sun comes up, rhinoceroses have long been grazing. Sleeping only during the hottest periods of the day, rhinos spend most of their time eating or rolling in mud to stay cool. The mud also acts as sunscreen and shields rhinos' skin from bugs. While rhinos spend little time together in a crash or a group, they are often found in the company of oxpeckers, which are birds that sit on rhinos' backs eating bugs. Oxpeckers also warn rhinos of dangers approaching. That's particularly helpful to rhinos because their eyesight isn't very good, though their senses of smell and hearing are really strong. Rhinos have very thick skin, and their horns are made from keratin, just like our fingernails and hair. Don't let them disappear. They're found in eastern and southern Africa, northern India, southern Nepal, Indonesia, Malaysia. They're critically endangered are the black rhinos, Sumatran rhinos, Javan rhinos, and northern right rhinos. The nearly vulnerable are the southern right rhinos, and the vulnerable are Indian rhinos. All of them because of poaching and habitat loss. Although giant pandas spend most of their time alone, in the afternoon you might find an embarrassment of giant pandas eating lots of bamboo together. They need to eat so much bamboo, more than 25 pounds a day. Because it's not very nutritious, this is why they eat so much. Unlike other bears, giant pandas do not hibernate or roar, but they do speak or growl and use scents to communicate with one another. While they're born pink, the distinctive black and white fur they later grow is a form of camouflage, helping giant pandas blend in with the shadows in their native bamboo forest. They rarely need the camouflage though, since they have very few predators. Don't let them disappear. They're found in central China and are vulnerable because of the habitat loss. Whale sharks are the biggest fish in the world and may be one of the few animals who never sleep no matter what time of day or night it is. From the moment they're born, whale sharks never stop swimming. Alive when dinosaurs roamed the earth, sharks have been around for hundreds of millions of years. They don't have a single bone in their bodies. Whale shark skeletons are made up of cartilage, the same substance that's in our noses and our ears. No matter where they are, shivers of whale sharks can sense a drop of blood if it's in the water nearby, though they mainly eat plankton. Don't let them disappear. Their range is close to the equator in oceans all around the world, and they're endangered because of hunting, collisions with boats, and being trapped in fishing nets. In the Arctic, for much of the year, day and night do not have the same meaning they do in other places on Earth. In the summer, it's light for nearly 24 hours a day, and in the winter, it's dark all day. Celebrations of polar bears sleep when seals, their main food, are sleeping. Most of their seal hunting takes place underwater. To withstand below freezing temperatures above and below water, polar bears have 2 layers of fur. The fur gives them their whitish coloring. Their skin is actually black. Polar bears have good eyesight to help distinguish shades of white on the ice and can smell seals up to 20 miles away. Don't let them disappear. Their range is all across the Arctic, the United States, Canada, Denmark, Norway, and Russia, but they're vulnerable due to climate change, habitat loss, and less prey to eat. As the sun begins to set, lionesses head out to hunt antelopes, buffalo, wildebeest, zebra, and giraffes to feed their pride. But they don't hunt all day. Lionesses can sleep for more than 15 hours each day. Male lions sleep even longer, up to 20 hours a day, even though they rarely hunt. Both lions and lionesses will fight to protect their pride. A male lion's mane provides extra protection and also shows how old a lion is. The darker the mane, the older the lion. Lions and lionesses communicate with one another in many ways, including by roaring. The lion's roar can be heard from 5 miles away, helping members of their pride who might have wandered off to find their way back, or helping hunters find them. Even though they're called the king of the jungle, they're still not safe from harm. Don't let them disappear. They're in sub-Saharan Africa and India, and Asiatic lions are endangered, while African lions are vulnerable due to conflict with human neighbors, less prey to eat, poaching, and habitat loss. A romp of sea otters settles down to sleep by laying on their backs and wrapping themselves in kelp so they don't have to worry about floating out to sea. There's no kelp nearby, and sometimes even if there is, otters will join together, making a raft for stability and security. Sea otters use rocks to crack open the clams and other shellfish they like to eat. If a sea otter finds a particularly useful rock, it will travel with it and use it over and over again. After every meal, sea otters wash their paws and fur, no easy task given that they have more hair on a small patch of skin than we have on our heads. Don't let them disappear. The range is across the North Pacific Ocean from Japan to Russia to the US and Canada and as far south as Mexico, but they're endangered because of pollution, less prey to eat, habitat loss, and poaching. As the sun sets, orangutans prepare nests in the trees, sometimes building roofs to cover the mattresses they have woven out of branches and leaves. Like us, orangutans prefer to sleep in protected spaces. Unlike us, their arms are longer than their bodies to help them navigate from branch to branch and tree to tree. Orangutans tend to spend more time on their own than in groups, and much of the time is spent climbing, sitting, and swinging high above the ground. When a congress of orangutans is together, they communicate with sounds, facial expressions, and gestures like we do. Their similarities to us are reflected in their name. Orangutan means person of the forest, in their native language of Malay, which is in Malaysia. Don't let them disappear. They're in Sumatra and Indonesia, and Borneo and Indonesia and Malaysia. They're critically endangered due to habitat loss and poaching. When night has fallen, tigers wake up to hunt. Their night vision is up to 6 times more powerful than ours. As the biggest cats on Earth, tigers need a lot of meat to stay healthy and strong. They hunt mainly for deer, wild pigs, antelope, and water buffalo. Tigers are good athletes and can jump more than 15 feet in 1 pound and run more than 40 miles per hour over short distances. Unlike most other cats, they love water and can swim more than 3 miles at a time. Generally solitary animals, tiger moms and cubs together form a streak, each with their own distinct pattern of brown, black, and gray stripes. Don't let them disappear. They live in South and Southeast Asia, China, and Russia. They're endangered because of poaching and habitat loss. And there's actually a couple different subspecies of tigers that are now extinct. And there's a couple more on the very brink. And some of this actually has to do with illegal trade of their organs and stuff, especially in food markets. Late at night, elephant herds are fast asleep, enjoying their second sleep of the day. First comes when the sun is high and hot. The largest animals on land, elephants have trunks that can weigh 400 pounds and can be more than 6 feet long. Elephants use their trunks to sense an object's size, shape, and temperature, and they use them like a snorkel when swimming. All elephants have trunks, but not all elephants have tusks, the very long teeth that help them find food and water. Elephants have a range of emotions like we do, including love, compassion, and grief. They even cry over their lost loved ones years after they're gone. Don't let them disappear. Their range is the sub-Saharan Africa, South and Southeast Asia, and the Asian elephants are endangered, and the African elephants are vulnerable due to poaching and habitat loss. The poaching is because people get their tusk and trade them illegally. Let's make a pledge as fellow inhabitants of planet Earth that we don't let any of these species disappear. Now, if you want to pick this book, in the end, it explains why they're endangered, what they can do, and then different international holidays that we celebrate to protect these animals. So I highly suggest that you go out and you check out this book, Don't Let Them Disappear by Chelsea Clinton, with the illustrations by Gianna Marino, and that you go talk to a local zookeeper, because they will have a lot of info on endangered animals. Of all the animals in this book, I've worked with and or around tigers, elephants, giraffes, rhinos, and lions. And they're absolutely magnificent animals, and it is up to us to make sure that they always have a home. So just like how we are able to save the axolotl, and we have a bunch of them in captivity right now, with the hopes of one day restoring them to the wild, we want to make sure that these animals also have wild counterparts that never have to worry about losing their home. So here's your little close-up. Although he's not very good at closing up, but I hope you guys have a good night.